The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents another boxing games been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT. I came here to talk some boxing with my pops. And this is the official post-fight review for Joshua Greer versus Magic Mike Plania. It was a marvelous main event on Top Rank. Mike Plania, he scores the upset majority decision over Joshua Greer. This was a very interesting fight. A lot of people, coming into this fight were very iffy about Joshua Greer, and for good reason. This is a Joshua Greer who had struggled in his last couple of fights before this. He had fought the likes of Antonio Nieves and Daniel Lozano, had been dropped in a couple of fights, looked very vulnerable, had a fight with Potter Pop that me and my pops thought he lost, so he needed to make a statement. A win here would have got him a title shot. He fought a guy in Plania who the world wasn't too familiar with. I knew a little bit about Plania because I had the opportunity back in March of 2018 to see his fight against Juan Carlos Payano, which was the only loss of his professional career. And based on what I saw in that fight, I didn't really think that he was going to perform this well. But in this fight, he showed a lot that I didn't see when I saw him fight against Payano. So I'll swing over to Pops. Pops, what did you make about Mike Plania's performance against Joshua Greer?
I think the Magic Man came in and he took when you come from where he came from Philippines, the same city where the great Manny Pacquiao comes from, and you're only making 10 cents a car.
10 cents washing cars, Jesus.
And you get this opportunity to come to the United States and actually, showboat yourself and fight a fighter like Don't Blink, Greer.
Getting a lot of hype.
Who actually, the caliber of the fighter that he is, it was a true test for him. He give it to the Philippines. He came out, he lost his Payano, and from that he's done pretty good. For me personally, Greer has not really impressed me, and I'm a big fan of him also, but he has not impressed me.
He's been slipping a lot as the opposition stepped up.
In the last two fights, and then coming into this fight, he did make a last change and went back to his old trainer for this fight, went back to his hometown, Chicago, so I give him respect for that. But I think sometimes you got to make adjustments, and like my BT was telling me, he couldn't adjust to that left hand. You said from
he was unable to all night long when he fought Plania. He was unable to defend the left hook. Plania, he was holding his hands down a lot. So what happened was when Greer would throw the right hand, Plania would slip to his left. He would slip to his left, and he would just whip that left hook. It was this whipping left hook. And it was catching Greer on the chin, consistently scored 2 knockdowns because of that. And that's what ultimately costed Joshua Greer this fight.
Another point that BT was bringing up to me, that if the Magic Man, Plania, he didn't have a really consistent jab.
I don't think he really performed all that well. I thought it was really more about Joshua Greer's lack of consistency, his inability to get in range, to let his hands go, and on top of that, getting dropped.
And another thing that you brought up, BT, that you said that he didn't know how to cut the ring.
No, I was getting pissed off because we were watching the fight. I was getting pissed off because Joshua Greer, as he got to momentum, because make no mistake about it, Plania was feeling some of those shots Joshua Greer was landing in the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th round when he cut the distance off and began to be able to let his hands go at a range that was comfortable for him.
Right.
But where he lost his fight was his inability to cut the ring off. So I was telling my dad, Greer would keep attacking him in straight lines. So when Plania was circling the ring, Greer, all he had to do was take a step over and beat him to a spot to make Plania go the opposite way. Force him to go the opposite way. Then when he goes the opposite way, you cut that space up and force him backwards, and then you can let your hands go that way and make him fight when he doesn't want to fight. But he couldn't do that. So what wound up happening was he would run right at him, and all Plania had to do was this. This is all Plania had to do. Either tie him up, or throw the hook and spin off of him, and that would get him back to the middle of the ring.
He hasn't made no adjustments. Hopefully, my son was telling me that this might be the best thing that ever happened.
I think it will be.
And the reason he was telling me is because now he'll have to make adjustments to learn what he's telling me that he was.
He'll have to make, because the thing is, when he was the thing we must understand about Joshua Greer is when he took his first professional loss a couple of years ago to Stephen Fulton, who's now the world champion at 122. He then moved on to 118, which is a smaller weight class, and he started experiencing all kinds of knockouts. This guy became Mike Tyson for a couple fights. With the James Gordon-Smith fight and Glenn DeZern and these guys. So what wound up happening was, because he was landing so many devastating knockouts, he didn't really develop those other skills, and he fell in love with his power. But now that he lost to a guy, he now sees that power is only going to get you so far. And because of that, I think now he can now be more real with himself, and he won't have the hype of ESPN around him as much, because once you lose in boxing, the hype goes away. That's how
man,
it is.
it's just to be out here boxing. It's unfortunate for Greer. He had a big opportunity to, to get a big title fight. But at the same side of the coin, I'm happy for Magic Man. He comes down here from South Florida.
He trains at the big shout out goes. Big
M&R.
shout out is in order to M&R Boxing Promotions, because they are trained by the fine folks down there at that gym in Kendall. So shout out to them. Hey, South Florida was very well represented on this card. We had M&R Boxing Promotions.
We
on
got
the
Perez
card.
From the Puerto Rican heavyweight, cruiserweight.
Yeah, he fought on the card. So it was very South Florida.
So it was good for Florida. Shout out to Florida. But and this fight right here, like I said, I gotta give kudos to the Magic Man. Plania. He came in here. He was a very patient fighter. I'll tell you that in the beginning of the round.
Yeah,
but if my son said if Greer would have turned it on a couple after the 6th round, he would turn it on.
If he would have just been able to defend the damn left hook, if he never got knocked down, that's a very winnable fight.
And if he would have turned it in more when he had him closer, instead of when he attacked with more combinations, he probably would have, because he's got a couple of shots inside.
And that's why I think I still maintain this. I still think if he fights a John Riel Casimiro, I still think that's a good fight for Joshua Greer, because a fight against Casimiro won't be like it was against Plania. Casimiro's a guy that likes to sit there and exchange a bit more, and that's going to allow Joshua Greer to get his hands off and have combinations. But as far as for what I think he should do next, I think now Top Rank is going to use him as an opponent. That's just how things go. He had a chance to really perform. He didn't do it, so I would expect to see Joshua Greer thrown in there with a Casimiro next, maybe Emmanuel Rodriguez. But either way, I think this is going to be a good
like journeyman type thing. Like a journeyman thing.
I mean, not a journeyman, but he's going to use it as an opponent.
Yeah. Well, man, like I said, I'm happy for.
But it's good for Plania, because he
came in here, he did what he had to do, and he did it with patience. I mean, like my son told me, he was wearing down towards the later rounds. Towards the later rounds, he was actually was fading, and my son said if Greer would have just pulled it off a little bit longer and made more combinations and slipped to the side as he was cutting off the ring, he would have had more of a success. But kudos to the Philippines. He comes from the same town of Manny Pacquiao, so you already know. And I like him. He throws hard. Plania, I'm talking about. He throws hard. He's patient, and I also like Casimiro. They're both from the Philippines, so kudos to the Philippines. Shout out to all of them. And Greer, your career's not over. Just make the adjustments you need to do and learn from this.
And I want to close the video out like this. A lot of people are going to now call Josh Greer a hype job, which they can, because he had been showing that he wasn't as good as the hype in the previous fights before that. So that's completely warranted. But what I want to say is, just because he lost, I don't think we should throw Joshua Greer under the bus. I think that we should give him and any fighter who loses a fight the opportunities to rebuild their career, to see what they really have inside of them. Don't just throw them to the wolves and throw them to the wayside, because I think Joshua Greer still is a good fighter. He's going to be good for TV. He's going to continue being a fighter that should be involved in important fights at 118. Will he be a world champion? I'm not so sure. I stopped believing that he'd be a world champion after the Potter fight.
And I think
I maintain it now.
And I think what BT is saying is right. A lot of times, this is from boxing today. We all like to see the knockout or the zero, the blank zero in the loss column. But the reality is, nobody's perfect, and everybody deserves chances. So we gotta still stick to our American fighters, pull for them. And Chicago is a blue collar town. They've had great athletes that come from there, and don't get me wrong. Greer's gonna have that, and Greer's gonna come back and rebound from this. How far we don't know, but let's not all be like everybody else and just throw it right to the curb because they get their first, the big L or whatever. We got to stick to all, whether it's the light bantamweights or lightweights or heavyweights or middleweights. We got to stick to our American fighters. That's a problem that we do. We give up on them right away.
Yeah, so that's what it is. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments down below. Mike Plania has announced himself to the world as the next formidable contender in the bantamweight division. Shout out to M&R Boxing Promotions, South Florida.
M&R, man, we got part of True School Sports, baby.
And
the Magic Man is here to stay in Florida.
Exactly. And leave your comments down below. Yeah. Who do you want to see Joshua Greer fight next on the way up? And who do you want to see Plania fight now that he's in the mix? Leave your comments down below. Take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dean. So until next time, take care, guys.